Guys, what's up? Welcome back to Six Cars. We are here at the 2025 Canadian International Auto Show. So there's a ton of stuff here. I think it's a pretty big show this year. Honestly, as far as auto shows go, I'd say this is probably the best one in North America right now. In a world where auto shows are really changing, a lot of manufacturers don't really see the value in these shows anymore. I can say that Canadian Auto Show pretty much has every single brand, so I'm pretty excited to get through this. There's a ton of cool cars here this year. We're gonna go through all the best stuff, and it's gonna be a good time, guys. So of course, I might do the magic words to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's get to it. Okay, so actually it's a good little display of Corvettes here, and this is a new audio setup too, so hopefully you guys do enjoy it. But check this out, we have the ZR1 with the roof off. We did see this car a couple times. We saw it at the Detroit Auto Show, we saw it back in Monterey too, but that was in yellow, so this is actually a new spec. So always cool to see these brand new cars in different paint schemes to see what they look like, and honestly I do quite like this. It's almost like a silvery metallic blue that's on the wheels. You can see it matches the stripes. Blue accents in the interior as well. Pretty good looking car, and again, 1,000 horsepower and a ridiculous amount of downforce. This thing just set a ton of track records in the States too, at Road America. VIR I think was another one, but yeah, Corvettes, always good to see new variants. Look at the E-Ray here with the underglow. Oh my goodness, that's pretty interesting. Ski rack on top, that's pretty fitting. It's a really snowy day here in Canada today, so kind of a cool thing. And this car right here, we have a Z06 GT3R, and this one just won its class at the 24 Hours of Daytona, so pretty cool. It still has all its battle scars on it. You can see here the front lights are just completely cracked, pretty much destroyed. The side mirror is fallen off on the driver's side too, covered in rubber. Really sick, so nice to see some race car content here at the auto show. Hey, good little display from Corvette. Okay, so points to BMW. They definitely have the coolest display so far. Everything on this floor is essentially dedicated to BMW M, but the standout here obviously is the new M5 Touring. So finally, BMW has brought a cool performance wagon to North America. We don't get too many of them. I'm not really sure how you guys feel about the styling. I think it looks pretty cool. However, the weight is a big issue. I think it weighs around the same as like an F-150 Lightning. It's an absolute behemoth of a car, but it has 700 plus horsepower. So that's always good. And I'm not going to complain too much because the fact that we get any cool wagons here in North America is always a treat, because usually we get screwed out of these. So nice to see that BMW brought this over. I do like the matte black on red spec too. Obviously lots of M accents throughout the car, but I'll try and step back here and see if I can get this in the whole frame. But yeah, there you go. There is the wagon silhouette. I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think though. But yeah, M5 wagon finally in North America. Here, more race car content, because you know on Six Cars I can't get enough of this stuff. This is the M Hybrid V8. I think it's just like a display model. I don't think it's running because obviously the windows are completely blacked out. So I think this is just a shell, but very cool still to see it nonetheless. Another car that, well, if it was the real one, it would have competed at the 24 Hours of Daytona, of course, along with the Z06 GT3R we saw before, just in the hypercar class, but really cool. And I think, I mean, golden age of sports car racing, and this BMW actually looks pretty sick. I'm not usually a big fan of the massive kidney grills that they've been going for lately on the road cars, but I think on the race car it does actually look pretty sick. And yeah, what a good looking car, honestly. Just very cool to see it. So I would say the highlight of the year at every single Canadian International Auto Show was without a doubt the Autostrada magazine booth. Shouts out to Lucas Carfone. If you guys are into a little bit of light automotive reading, there is no better magazine on the market than Autostrada. And as you can see, they always manage to bring out the heavy hitters. We start off with the yellow Ferrari F50. We actually did see this car driving in Yorkville back in, I think it was around late fall. Just an incredible looking car. Always nice to see a non-red Ferrari F50. There's only a handful that were painted in yellow from the factory, so pretty damn special. And yes, this one does have the roof off, so that's really good. Always cool to see the F50 with the roof off. It's one of the biggest selling points of the car. Of course, the V12 is another big one too, but I think as the years go past, the F50 styling is definitely growing on me. I was never really big on it, but as I see it more and more, I'm definitely coming around to it. Now, speaking of Ferrari hypercars from the what is now the Big Six after the F8 was released, another one that's not in a traditional color is this F40 painted in black. Now, obviously, all the F40s were red from the factory, so this is, of course, a respray, but I really, really like it. This car is originally from Japan. It does have some aftermarket 5-spoke wheels, and as you can see, it does have some aftermarket Sparco seats as well. It still has the red sawbell harnesses in it. You even see these little racing decals on the side too, so a very extremely raw F40, and not afraid to modify a legendary car. So hey, props to that. It looks so damn good. Very sinister looking. I really do like the black on it. Now, next to the Ferraris, we do have some Lamborghinis, and special ones at that. We have the SE30, of course, the 30th edition Diablo, very special edition. So we did see one back at Curated in Miami last month, but a lot of cool, distinctive features on this car. This front bumper is unique to the SE30, and it's always been really interesting to me how the Lamborghini badge is stuck onto the front bumper rather than the hood. A very cool little feature. This is the infamous SE30 purple though, so if you're gonna get an SE30, this is what would be the equivalent of resale around a Ferrari. This is resale SE30 purple, but really cool looking blue seats on the inside too. And you can see it has the 30th edition, special edition designation just in the rear window there, but incredible looking car. One of the best Diablos you can buy. We go to a bit of modernity now as we left the SE30 Diablo. We've got the Countach, the LPI 804. Of course, it is a hybrid V12, so new territory for Lamborghini, but I think it's 112 was the total production numbers on this car, and this has to be one of the best looking ones out there. This really nice sort of like electric blue gold wheels with white seats, very contrasting, but I think it really pops very nicely, and it really makes the blue stand out that much more when you've got that white interior. But a great looking car. I think they did a great job paying homage to the original Countach. Very similar body lines, just a fantastic car. Now we shift over here. I mean, you guys can pretty much pick anything from this booth. You're not gonna go wrong with what your favorite car is. They're all incredible, but I would say that this is my pick, the LFA Nurburgring. I mean, I've said so many times on this channel, but we did get a lot of new subscribers in the last couple weeks. So if you aren't familiar with 6 cars, this is my be-all end-all supercar, is the LFA. And usually we only see plain ones on the channel, which are already cool enough on their own, but this one is in fact the Nürburgring edition. So only 50 of these in the world. There's only probably just a few in all of Canada, and it's just amazing. You guys can obviously see there's some pretty distinguishable features from the standard LFA. You get this new carbon fiber front lip, these little canards. You do get these lighter multi-spoke wheels, which do look quite nice. And of course, the biggest selling feature back here is the fixed wing. Now, generally you do have the active aero on the LFA, which I absolutely love, and I'm kind of sad that you don't get it on the Nürburgring, but the fixed wing is very cool. And obviously you need it because this is more of a track-focused variant of the LFA. They added a lot more aero, they made it lighter, because of course, if you're gonna name your car after the Nürburgring, it has to be track-focused, and that is exactly what they did. Looks absolutely remarkable. But you can obviously see beside me, you've got a Carrera GT and a Huayra R, so I'm gonna go back to the front here. We're gonna take a look at those. So, white Carrera GT. Now, we did mention when we were on the other side of the aisle, of course, we see a lot of red Ferrari hypercars. If we're talking about the Carrera GT, you usually see it in like silver or seal gray, so to see a white one is very nice. This one does have some aftermarket or carbon fiber-ish wheels. It does look like the standard Porsche wheels, but carbon fiber, which is nice. But what really stands out to me is this sort of like dark reddish brown interior, and usually the shift knob is finished in like a balsa wood, paying homage to a 917, but this one does have carbon fiber. You can see the carbon fiber on the steering wheel too, so a very interesting looking Carrera GT, but man, it really looks good in white. I'm a big sucker for white cars. Obviously doing a Carrera GT, that is very, very cool. And then over here, yes, we have seen this on the channel already, but I mean, how can you not show a Pagani Huayra R again? Incredible machine. Of course, it is the track-only variant of the Huayra, and it just looks insane. This one is, of course, just pure exposed carbon fiber, but a lot different looking from your standard Huayra. There's way more aero in it. There's a crazy looking body kit. It's much longer too. And I do love this very, very long extended wing at the back. I think it suits the car absolutely brilliantly. It's very different from what you saw on its predecessor, the Zonda R, but just all these little things like the additional flaps, the adjustable aero, and this is one of my favorite features back here is the white exhaust. It just looks absolutely fantastic. It stands out so well over this massive rear diffuser. It's just such a cool car. One of the biggest gripes with the road-going Huayra, of course, was it didn't really have the greatest sound after following up the Zonda, but this one absolutely answered the critics. It is insane. It's a Banshee. We have heard a Huayra R revving on the channel before at Car Week. I encourage you to go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it already. I think it was the green one at Exotics on Broadway a couple years ago. Sounds insane, but yes, very, very cool to see that. And what a lineup. So as I mentioned, you guys can basically pick whichever car you like from the lineup. You cannot go wrong. Everything here is legendary, iconic. So I would love to hear what your guys' favorite pick is from the Autostrada booth at the auto show this year. Okay, so actually beside Autostrada is a pretty cool display, a little bit of a tribute to Mercedes, and you can see it goes all the way from the OG patent motor wagon from 1886 all the way up to the newest supercars. I think this 540k Sport Tour is extremely rare. Like I think there's only maybe 10 or something like that. So pretty cool to see a classic like that. Speaking of which, pretty iconic right here, the 300 SL Roadster. Great spec actually too, the gray on the red. You can see a white steering wheel on it too, so that's nice. You got the smaller 190 SL over there, and I'm gonna get to the newer stuff in 1 second. All right, on to the newer stuff. We obviously have the iconic SLR. This is another car that I think is just getting better with age. Just such a cool shape. I've always loved this, the super long hood on it too. Just, yeah, very cool design. The turbine style wheels, what a car, and something that is often forgotten, I think, because if you actually look at the values of these, they're still relatively low. So I think this is something that could really increase in value in the next few years. So always nice to see an SLR. We've got a pretty rare SLS AMG over here. This is actually the GT Final Edition, so you do get some additional parts. You got the carbon fiber hood, the carbon fiber front splitter. There is a GT wing at the back there. It's a kind of see it at the back there, but a pretty limited car, so nice to see that as well. And this is another one where the values are already going up. Of course, paid homage to the 300 SL Coupe with the gull-wing doors. Those are extremely desirable now too. So yes, one of the rarest versions of the SLS there. And here we have another special edition. This is the AMG GT Black Series. However, it's just not a regular Black Series. It is the Project 1 edition. So the only way you could actually get this particular one is if you had an allocation for the Mercedes AMG 1 Hypercar, and you can see the livery on the side with all of the tri-stars and the sort of Patronus turquoise accents as well. That is how you can tell that it is, of course, a Project 1 Edition Black Series. And the funny thing is that, as you guys already know or are probably aware of, the AMG 1 Hypercar isn't legal in North America. So people had allocations here, and then they found out it wasn't going to come here anyway, but you could still at least get this Project 1 Edition GT Black Series, and it looks like this guy opted for it. So very cool to see that. Extremely rare, obviously, because like I said, you can only get it if you had that Hypercar allocation. So very rare car, but yeah, again, nice little tribute to Mercedes here. This is a really good display from the Cobble Beach Concourse. Okay, now I actually am not too familiar with this particular Cadillac. It is a brand new concept called the Sollei. I did want to show it off though, because it is pretty damn cool looking. It's obviously a super luxurious cruiser. I think it's fully electric, but this is probably, I would say, a direct competitor to something like the Rolls-Royce Dawn. And you know what, this kind of captures like the, I guess you want to call the essence of Cadillac. Very luxurious, and that like almost like off yellow interior is kind of interesting. And you can see there's even like a little fridge or something, or a chiller in the back. Pretty damn cool. So I mean, hey, it's always cool to see like weird concepts at these auto shows. I think this is some of my favorite things to see. So cool that Cadillac has brought this one out. Pretty sure we're going to be watching this Mercedes spin in a second, guys, so bear with us. All right, well, that's that. Okay, so despite all the noise that's going on around Nissan, they're still modifying cars or trucks. So shouts out, kind of cool. I think this is the tarmac concept of the Nissan Frontier. So I'm not even really sure the purpose of it, or if it's supposed to be like maybe a hill climb truck, or maybe it's a drift truck, who even knows. But big front splitter. Interesting choice of wheels too. It's Nismo branded, so I guess it is genuine Nismo wheels, like carbon fiber around the rim too. But look at these Recaro seats. Very cool looking, very retro design. And I'm going to assume with that air brake that this is potentially some sort of like drift truck. So that's pretty damn cool, actually. I do like obviously seeing modified builds, and I wasn't expecting to see a modified Nissan Frontier. But there you go. That is the tarmac concept from Nissan. Okay, so there's a tale of two tapes here at Maserati. This MC20 Cielo, or the open top version, very cool looking colors. Almost like sort of rainbow tint to it. There's like blue and green and silver. It's very interesting, and it's just a really good looking car too. I think it's a really fair competitor in the supercar segment. So shout out, the MC20 does look very good and a nice color. This, however, I don't really know what's going on with this Gran Turismo. It is the Trofeo. It is some kind of like anniversary edition too, but I don't know. This is like sort of like dark purple that's almost kind of looks like it's plasti dipped compared to like the turquoise accents, and very strange looking wheels. I'm not really feeling that, to be honest, but it is some kind of special edition, so I guess it is rare. But that is the 75th anniversary, I believe, Trofeo Gran Turismo. But I think if you want a Maserati, just keep it simple, stick to the MC20, much better looking. All right, here we are at the Grand Touring booth. So a nice little spread there. There is a cool purple Revuelto. Let's see if we can get over to that in a second. But I wanted to point out this here, which is the new Aston Martin Vanquish, which looks spectacular. Aston Martin has always made really, really good looking cars, in my opinion, but this is definitely one of the best in recent memories. What stands out to me is the new headlight design and the new front grille. It screams Aston Martin 177. It looks fantastic. The most important thing about this car too is, of course, the fact that they have kept the V12 inside, so that's always good. But I did want to take you around to the back because it's a really cool looking design. It's completely different from the previous Vanquishes. It almost has like a bit of a muscle car look to it with that big carbon fiber piece at the back, but it's really good looking. Quad pipes. Unfortunately, you get those little bumper guards, North American regulations, so pop those off instantly if you get an Aston Martin in North America. But it looks fantastic. Love this launch spec green too. Looks really, really good. And yeah, just shout out to Aston Martin. I mean, it is expensive. It does say $655,000 on the sticker price, but looks-wise, performance-wise, and the fact that it's a V12, really cool. There you go, as promised. Quick little look at the Revuelto. We've seen a few of these on the channel now as they are getting rolled out to the road. We saw a lot in Monterey, but I don't know if we've seen a purple one yet. I think this might be the best color I've seen on the car so far. So yes, it makes a huge difference, the spec, and this one does have all the carbon fiber options on the side too. So again, I don't know if I've seen that before, and this one is listed at $900,000 according to the spec sheet. So yeah, this is not playing any games, guys. This is a big Revuelto. But this one, I wasn't huge in the design at first when it first got unveiled, but it is really growing. I mean, like I said, the color plays a big part in that too. The back is definitely, for me, my favorite part. So yes, shout out to the Revuelto. I'll take you guys just with a better look at the back here too. Yeah, the exhaust is very much like a fighter jet, which is sort of the design Lamborghini's gone for the last little while. But again, you can see the purple under the lights looks really good and suits the car very well. Now we do have a Pininfarina Battista here, and a special edition at that. So this is a 1 of 5 Nino Farina edition. So of course, if you aren't familiar with Formula One, he is the first ever Formula One world champion, obviously connection with Pininfarina. So I think it's just a livery essentially. So you get the red, white, and blue with the 01 on the side, obviously distinguishing that he is the first ever Formula One world champion. Now, looks wise, I think the Battista is a pretty good looking car, but again, I'm just not really sold on the full electric hypercars. I don't really see the value in them. I feel like they all kind of drive the same, but who knows? I don't know if I'll ever get behind the wheel of a Pininfarina Battista to tell, but I'm not sure I'm really on board. But looks-wise, it is very cool. But yeah, it's a hefty price tag. I think it's about $4 million too, so not for the faint of heart. That, on the other hand, over there is very cool, the Chiron Pure Sport. So I'll see if I can just get a bit closer to that. There we go, the Chiron Pure Sport. So obviously the more track-focused version of the Chiron, a lot more aero. You get the fixed wing at the back. Now, obviously, if you're picking between the two hypercars here, I would personally prefer the Chiron Pure Sport. Again, I do like the looks of the Battista. I'm just not sold on the electric power plant. I think a W16 in a hypercar is far cooler, but of course there is a big jump in price. This one is 4.79 million US dollars, so more than the Battista, but I think it is a cooler car overall. It is a Bugatti Chiron after all, but a nice little spread here from Grand Touring. Here is a very cool display. Obviously, we've got a McLaren P1, one of the greatest modern hypercars ever built, looking fantastic. Volcano yellow brakes, volcano yellow accents everywhere. So that's already cool on its own. However, something even cooler behind it. That is, of course, the Lego McLaren P1. Now, I don't even know how many bricks you would need to build something like this, but this thing is fully functional. There's a video of Lando Norris actually driving this thing around Silverstone in England, which is nuts. I don't even imagine how long it would take to build something like this, but you can see all the little pieces just stretched all around the entire chassis, and they've pretty much faithfully recreated the entire lines and the whole body style of the McLaren P1. It's pretty remarkable, and I would imagine it's just running on an electric battery, but it's so damn cool. It's really interesting that Lego is putting so much time and effort into this. I will flip around to the front here so you guys can get a better look at the front bumper, functioning lights of course too, and that is a better look at all of the tiny little Lego Technic pieces on the front of the car. It's absolutely wild. Even the interior completely Lego inside. So probably not very comfortable to sit on, but very cool to see that driving around. Actually, you can even see at the back here, even the brake rotors, the brake calipers are finished in Lego pieces. So I would imagine there are like real brakes, like small ones behind it. I don't think this thing actually moves very quickly, but even the lights, you can see they are blinking, but Lego pieces around that too. Lego rear wing, I don't know if it's fully functional. It is Technic, so I guess that probably works too, but just a wild build. It's so cool to see these things, especially in the flesh too. So shouts out to Lego and shouts out to McLaren. That is pretty funky. Whoa there. I guess we're riding a Jeep roller coaster to close out the show here. Oh, ho. Some stairs here. Oh my God. Oh. The angle change here. Oh my goodness. Oh. That is steep. Oh my goodness. Damn, that's steep.
We're just stopped.
Oh, look at this. Look at this angle. What the hell? Oh. We about to lose drive with Roy there, buddy. Oh. Well, guys, that does it for Media Day at the Canadian International Auto Show. Pretty cool stuff. I know we didn't look at all the booths, all the exhibits, obviously. I don't think you guys want to just see general consumer cars on this channel. We wanted to find the interesting supercars, and I think we did just that. So obviously, Autostrada, definitely the highlight of this year's show. Some very interesting things, though. So as always, let me know your favorite car down in the comments below. If you didn't at the start of the video, and if you aren't already, remember to hit that big red subscribe button. It really helps, guys. Leave those likes and comments, and we'll see you next time on 6 Cars.